part one. Part one, I'm going to talk about some of the problems that dyslexic have. I'm going to move on after that to problems I had growing up, and then I'll move on to some improvements I think could happen in career, and I hope we're going to enjoy it. Okay, what's dyslexia? I put this, I know, by the way, I'm going to go back, sorry. I know there should be a Y in dyslexia. When I come to spell it, I spell it with an I, spell it with an E, and it is a disability. Dyslexia is a disability. It's basically a disability when I listen to sounds, I write the sounds out completely differently. Dyslexia is very tough for people. Okay, I'm going to go through some stuff. I have got notes. M. He's not a dyslexic, by the way, but I find M, the letter M, and the letter N very confusing. Not at the start of the word, by the way, only in the middle. I never get confused between nice and mice. That doesn't confuse me. It's generally in the middle. I put economy, and I put animal. These words are very tough for me. Or animal, or economy. This is very, very tough for me. I do make this mistake when spelling the words. It's very, very hard for me to grasp the sound of the N and the M. I move on. Waterfalls. Now this isn't specific to me. Not at all. This is more my brother's problem. If you see waterfalls, if you are seeing the whites, like water streaming down, I'm pretty much sure that you all probably have slight dyslexia. This is more my brother's problem. I don't see them anymore, but the best way to get rid of them is for making the white paper yellow or red. I don't suffer from this problem, but that's just an excerpt from a book. Okay, don't worry about that. Right to left, left to right. Okay. I know this is my left hand. I know this is my right hand. And yet I have to look every time at my left hand. I nearly said right then. And at my right hand. Quite recently we were in, I was taking a Korean class, and I said Korean writing goes right to left. I didn't mean that. I meant to say it goes, I've just made a mistake, haven't I? It goes left to right. And there we go, perfect example, under pressure. I make this mistake all the time. It's not that I don't know the difference between left and right, but when I try and say it, or I give someone directions, it comes out my mouth wrong. I know, like I said, this is my right. I know this is my left. But it can be confusing sometimes. I did a little play on words there, left to right, I don't know why. Heaven knows I'm miserable now. This is part 2. This is a nice lyric, I put it in. I'm going to talk about now growing up with dyslexia, which is very, very tough at times. The boy who cried wolf. This is, as I got older, I used to sit in class reading, and I would read a book, and I'd look down, and basically when I'd see someone else change the page, I'd change the page. And my other primary school teacher, Mrs. A lovely but scary woman, asked me to read in front of the class. And The Boy Who Cried Wolf, she must have known it was a really low level book. And I just cried. I just couldn't read it. I was trying my hardest and I cried to the whole class. And it was really, really hard. Again, I was quite lucky because I was in a small school, but I had lots of friends. No one said anything about it. No one picked on me. All the positive aspects of dyslexia. This is a tough question for me because I want there to be positive aspects. I really do. And yet, illiterate boys, maybe 10 illiterate boys are more likely to go into crime. Illiterate boys are more likely to get bullied. They're more likely to be naughty in class. They're more likely to fall behind in class. They're more likely to fall into a bad crowd. The truth about dyslexia is, if you've got dyslexia, you've got to work damn hard. I mean, really hard. So the truth is, I don't know what the positive aspects are unless you are one of these type people. A genius, you know. Someone who's done really well. Unless you're a genius. Unless you're a genius, then I don't know what the positive aspects are, honestly. But anyway, part 3, the education arms race. This is direct reference to Korea. I thought I would link it to Korea because this is where I'm living at the moment, so it's important. Okay, I often hear sentences like this. He comes from a bad family. His mother has died. He's very weird. I asked about a child who I think's got Asperger's, what his problem was, and they said, oh, he's a bit weird. I don't understand about this. Korean education is one of the finest in the world. Korean education is, by most parts, something every other country should aspire to. And yet, they don't seem to have anything for students who are disabled or who have problems. I know at my school they try and help some of the students read, but there are no specialist disabled teachers at the school, as far as I can tell. The Hangul is more phonetic and it's easier to learn than English. This is true. But dyslexia is not just about a reading problem. So when people say that Korea has 100% literary rates, this may be true, I don't believe it. But this Korean, the Hangul is not English. And it's much harder. Okay. And secondly, I teach English. I don't teach Korean. And I know students have problems. I have a boy at my school who can speak to me more fluently than the teachers. More fluently than the teachers. And yet, I ask him to do simple spellings, boat. He cannot make the sounds. Maybe he can. And yet, he's in one of the lowest levels English lessons. I don't understand this. He talks to me about all kinds of things. He talks to me about nuclear weapons. He loves nuclear power plants. He loves describing uranium. Honestly, he taught me more about uranium than some of the best scientists could explain, because he speaks in his simple way. And I love this little boy, he's great, but he can't do the basic spellings. And I wonder, is it because he's stupid? Or maybe he can't read? And I think it's definitely the latter, because he's not stupid at all. Multiple choice in the real world. You know, in the real world, we never use multiple choice, unless we're on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Honestly, I've never seen it used. A multiple choice exam is pointless. A multiple choice exam is absolute joke. Korean exams are a joke. There is no colour to the paper. There's no pictures to the paper. It's text and text. And questions sometimes start here and answers are here. I saw one paper, you have to turn the whole paper over to find out the question. I know every school makes their own stat papers, but this is not easy. This is not considerate to anybody. Not considerate at all. Not to those who have eye problems, not to those who have any problem. The only people it helps is them. I'm going to finish off with, I owe everything to my brother. My brother's 4.5 years older than me. I actually wrote quite a lot in this lecture. My brother's 4.5 years older than me. He didn't get discovered to be dyslexic until he was 8 years of age. He was very bad at school. In fact, I don't think he passed any exams to a level. I know he passed art, but only art. I was discovered a dyslexic at the age of 4, and I used to go out my class once a week, no, every day almost, and I did extra reading, and I see the career path me and my brother's had, and he's not really had a career path. It was one factory job after another factory job, and I wonder, I owe everything to him for this, because if he didn't get spotted, that would have been my career path. That would have been my life. Now my brother is better at me at everything. Honestly, he can do mental arithmetic in his head really well. He can do sort of computers really well. He's better at sport. He can play bass guitar, and I never picked up anything. He's exceptionally intelligent. He's better at poker, but yet he can't play. He can't read subtitles in a film, and he can't read a book, and he has low self-esteem. And I wonder if Korean students don't get spotted, that the same thing will happen to them, but they will get left behind. Now my brother hasn't gone into crime or anything like that, but that's the problem. That's the problem. You don't. If you do not stop something, if you do not give encouragement, people will stay low and they will never have aspirations. I want to say that's how I'm going to end my talk. Thank you very much. You know, I had all this paper and I tried to do it off the top of my head, so I think I did well.